Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ann Scarberry. In today's video, I'll be featuring some artwork that I just found at our local antique store. You know I love Norman Rockwell and all of his work, and I found some books at this store and I wanted to feature some in a back to school vignette somehow. When I got the books home, I was thumbing through them and reading every story. I read these cover to cover, and I'm doing my best not to decorate for fall. So these images depicting going back to school or a classroom, it just reminded me of growing up. My mom loved Norman Rockwell, and she framed the Saturday Evening Post quite often in our house. And I don't know, there's just something so warm and homey about his images. So I saw these back to school images and I wanted to decorate for that, just for the few weeks left we have in summer. When I decided to do the back to school vignette, I knew I needed vintage flashcards, and then I wanted to find a little old schoolhouse. I know Fisher-Price has a darling vintage schoolhouse toy. Well, I wanted an image, and I found this one. I'm sure it's online somewhere. I couldn't find it, so I bought this image on Etsy, and I can put the link below of the shop that I found this. I thought it was so sweet and cute, but I didn't want to just keep framing old art. So I decided to have this printed out from my UPS store. I just emailed them the image and printed it on regular printer paper. Then I cut it out and then I traced it on a piece of scrap wood that I found in our garage. I think this is just a sheet of plywood that is left over from another project. So I just laid it down on the plywood and traced it using a pencil. Then I went out to the garage and I used Dan's bandsaw to cut the image out. It's a strange shape, but using this kind of a blade, I was able to get in there and get these little curves cut out. It's a little bit thicker of material than the saw would have probably liked to have been cutting, but it worked. This is not intimidating to use. You just gotta keep your fingers away from that blade, but you can maneuver the wood and make curved cuts with this. They're not expensive saws if you're looking for something like this to add to your craft tools. You can basically make anything with one of these. And like I said, you could use a thinner piece of MDF or a piece of paneling if you want to just elevate your craft projects a little bit. So I got it cut out, and the blade was pretty dull, so I'm gonna have to go through and sand this up, get the edges nice and flat, and then I'll go inside and paint. I'm just wanting to cover the back and the sides of this piece of wood because we're going to glue the image on the front side of it. So I just wanted to make the sides and back a little bit cleaner when you're looking at it. Apparently my camera was off when I put a good bit of Mod Podge to the front of the piece of wood. But you basically brush on Mod Podge just like you would paint. Then you just kind of lay the image over the top and adjust it, making sure you're pretty well lined up with all the curves and lines, and then smooth it out with your hands. You could use a brayer if you have one. I don't have one. I just used my fingers and just kind of smoothed out that glue and made sure the paper didn't have any kind of bubbles underneath, and it turned out perfect. I set it aside and let the Mod Podge dry, and when it was dry, I took a thick piece of sandpaper and I went through and I just roughed up the sides where the paper and the wood met, and I just sanded it smooth, kind of gave it a rough image, and made it all look like one cohesive piece of art, whatever this is, little decoration. I grabbed this little ink pad. It's made to make things look distressed, and the color is antique linen. And to me, when paper is old, it has a white distressing on it instead of a brown, because it starts to get worn off. If you look at an old book, it's white and not brown or dingy. So I just took this antique linen color and just kind of brushed it off, and then I wiped most of it off, and I think it made it look a little bit older and not so starking, just those bright, vibrant colors. It kind of dulled it a little bit, and I think it looks pretty vintage to me. I knew I wanted vintage flashcards in my little vignette, so I bought these on Etsy, and I had them printed again at the UPS store. You can print these at home. I just didn't want to drain out my ink cartridges. It is a inkjet printer and it is pricey, so it's just cheaper to go get these printed at a copy center. It's pretty easy. You just email your store and attach the file and tell them you want it printed on cardstock. Now, at my store, they won't print it until I come in and stand there, because they don't want to print things and have people not come in and pick them up. So I just stand there, and then they ask me, like, what kind of paper do you want? And it takes a few minutes. It doesn't take any time at all. But anyways, had these printed out. Now I'm just cutting them all out. Look how cute these graphics are. I just think they're just precious. I wanted to take some of these cards and turn them into a banner. So I ran to Walmart and bought these little eyelets. I would have preferred to found some black or brown eyelets, or I think they're called grommets as well. Maybe in the paper crafting section you could find something more colorful. This is what Walmart had, and I just wanted to get this done, so I went with these. These are really used for sewing, but it worked here. Just punch a hole through your card, and then you have to sort out the eyelets, because there's a taller one, that's a taller one, and then there's a shorter one, that's the shorter one. And the taller one needs to be fed through the right side of your paper. So I want this to be the nice side, so the taller one goes through that, and then you place the shorter one underneath on the back side of your paper. And it comes with a little platform that allows you to hammer this on. That little black thing, that is just like a little cushion that hugs the grommet in so it doesn't move. And then you have this little nail, and it's got a little raised bump on the bottom, and you just line it up with that circle, and you set it down, and then you hammer it on. Now my camera fell when I hammered, and it kept falling. So I don't think you get a good visual of, yeah, it kept falling. So you just hammer it on like 6 or 7 times and it's nice and tight. Now you have this little protected grommet. You do not have to do this. I just did it because I took a painter's drop cloth and I tore a piece of fabric from that to string these up on a nice long string to make a banner. There's our cute little banner, all styled on a vintage frame, and the Norman Rockwell print is framed up. And this is the entryway that I was tired of. That's been this way for, goodness, years. And it's kind of been neglected since Christmas. And my mom gave me this table that you see in the front of the screen. And I've been wanting to use it. So I knew this all had to go and it had to be redone because it doesn't feel very, I don't know, like you walk in and you're just hit with furniture. I didn't like that. It's kind of a narrow entryway and you go into this huge room that just kind of flows from one area to the next. So I'll just let you kind of get a feel for the flow of the main level. And then we'll go back to the front and we'll style that to where it makes sense. I don't know why this just feels so much more open to me. I'm going to add some more photos to the right side wall there, but for now I'm going to leave the floor open. It's a really hard space to decorate, just to transition from one space to the next. But I'm just showing you real quick. I'm taking out some of my patriotic pictures and putting in some more schoolhouse pictures from that book. And then just put a few things out in the kitchen just to make it a little bit, you know, a little bit of back to school, even though no one in our house is going back to school. I just wanted to kind of put those little cards here and there, a little bit of crayons. But here's my kitchen for now. Next time you see me, I will be decorating for fall, and I absolutely cannot wait. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It encourages me that you show up here and you leave those sweet comments and you like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I will see you all in the next video.